Welcome back. Sri Lanka's China-funded $1.4 billion real estate development, Port City, has now completed its land reclamation phase, and the last of the 4 dredgers used for sand mining operations for the project have now left the site. Construction on the reclaimed land will begin soon. It was revealed on Wednesday. In total, 269 hectares of land from the ocean have been reclaimed. That's equivalent to around 600 football fields. 116 hectares will be handed over to the China Communications Construction Company, while the Sri Lankan government will own the remaining land, out of which 62 hectares will be used to set up a financial city and 91 hectares to be used for public spaces. The Port City project is currently the single largest private sector development in Sri Lanka, and its aim is to boost the economy alongside the country's existing development plans with state-of-the-art living, working, public and recreational spaces. The full completion of the marine part of the project, including the construction of the breakwater, is set for June 2019, not long to go. Now, when the full project is completed in 2041, the new city is expected to host around 80,000 residents and 250,000 daily commuters. So, what's the strategic importance of this new city, and how will it change the economic landscape in South Asia? Joining me now is Alexi Gunasekera, the Minister Commercial in the Sri Lankan Embassy here in Beijing, and Victor Gao, Vice President of the Centre for China and Globalization. Let's start with you, Alexi Gunasekera, if I may. This all sounds incredibly impressive. Are you excited?
Very much excited, because I have seen that Port City development with my own eyes for the past year or past 2 years. I saw how the landscape changed with the Port City development, so I'm very excited.
It's going to create 4,000 jobs for local people. It's going to benefit, well, to date, it's attracted that amount of jobs. So it's going to be something that is going to have huge impact on the economy, isn't it?
Definitely. If you look at the Port City, the objective, once it is completed, as you said, by 2041, we expect to attract $15 billion worth of investment to the Port City. And I would say, as Honourable Minister also stated, it's a kind of a technological marvel. If you look at how it was done, it's a technological marvel, definitely. And also, if you look at the World Economic Forum website, it says that the demand for services and goods coming from smart cities by 2025 will be like 2.5 trillion. And definitely the Colombo Port City is going to be a smart city, and it will attract a share of that 2.5 trillion US dollars.
Victor Gao, what's in it for China?
Well, first of all, please allow me to congratulate the completion of this particular phase of the Port City, as well as for the whole port project, which is a milestone project for Sri Lanka, but also for maritime shipping. And for China, of course, I think we have been very happy to work very closely with our brothers and sisters in Sri Lanka to single out this particular project and the related project, and also to introduce Chinese technology, construction capabilities, as well as funding, because funding is important, because without finance, it's very difficult to really generate such a big infrastructure project. Now, the more is for Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka traditionally is not an infrastructure hub by any means, including maritime shipping. However, with the completion of this project and the gradual rollout of all the related aspects of it, Sri Lanka will become definitely a very important maritime hub.
Well, yes, it will indeed. It's very easy to see the benefits for Sri Lanka. It's there in black and white. But what are the benefits for China?
For China, of course, we get involved. We work closely with our friends and brothers and sisters. But also, I think to build Sri Lanka into a maritime shipping hub is important for China, because China is already the largest maritime nation in the world, largest manufacturing country in the world, and the largest exporting country in the world. Definitely, with a much more efficient port in Sri Lanka, China benefits, as well as other countries like Japan and South Korea and China's Taiwan province, for example, which depend on overseas trading. as a very important part of their business.
Alexi Gunasekera, India, does India benefit?
I would say, if you look at the Belt and Road Initiative of China that was introduced in 2013, all the countries in that Belt and Road Initiative is going to benefit, definitely. It's not only India, all the countries in South Asia, because Sri Lanka wants to become the hub of South Asia. So as he correctly said, a maritime hub, a financial hub, and everything will be achieved in the near future with the Colombo Port City.
But Indians have not been historically in favour of this, though, have they? Why not?
Well, if you look at the objective of this project, that objective of this project is not to become a kind of a security threat or a political thing. The objective was purely economic. Objective was Sri Lanka needs foreign direct investment coming to the country. But if you look at the past, we didn't get the required foreign direct investment. But imagine Port City attracting $15 billion investment, not only for one sector. Once the financial city is built, a lot of investment will come to the services sector, the maritime sector, the manufacturing sector. I mean, if you look at because I saw on my own eyes, I visited the port city recently, just a few weeks ago. I saw the plan, what they are going to do in that 269 hectares. International schools coming up, international hospitals, the recreational park, the LRT light rail system, the hotels, all these things will be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming back to your question, if I may say, add a point, I think India will benefit. Why? Because even though I have many friends in India, and China-India cooperation is absolutely important, but it's a reality that some of the Indian ports right now are relatively lower in their efficiency. Therefore, Indian cities can benefit by transshipping through the Sri Lanka port, which I believe, and I'm definitely sure, has a much higher level of efficiency, and this will help shipping into and out of India by the transshipping much better and much more efficiently done. So eventually it will add to the productivity and efficiency of the Indian economic development.
Can I just add one more thing? Look at the tourism sector. The Marina Bay that will be developed in the port city will attract the affluent tourists to Sri Lanka. India also will get the benefit. The entire region will get the benefit of that tourism sector. So I think this port city is not only for Sri Lanka, it's for the entire region and for entire South Asia. That is my view.
Let's look now at the geopolitical side of this. 116 acres of the reclaimed land will be handed over to China on a 99-year lease, reverting back to Sri Lanka after that. Victor Gao, echoes of Hong Kong?
No, not really. I think Sri Lanka is a fully independent and sovereign country, and there is no infringement or violation of any of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Sri Lanka. I think the reclaimed land and the financing related to it is very much commercially driven. I think you need the money. Of course, China is not going to become a Santa Claus handing out money to countries like Sri Lanka, for example. If you want to have a sustainable and long-lasting port and related projects, you need to do it on a commercial basis. So I think the land to be reclaimed and the long-term lease are very well structured to make sure that the financing will be there. It's a long-term financing, it's a long-term project, and eventually Sri Lanka, as the ultimate owner of the port and all the related projects, will be the ultimate and the most important beneficiary of the project.
Do we know how this will work on a practical level, having part of Sri Lanka that's owned by China? Will people need to go through customs in a similar way that they do when they go from Hong Kong to Macau to Zhuhai? Or will it be more straightforward than that?
Well, the laws will be introduced by the Sri Lanka government. I mean, as he correctly said, no country will give away sovereignty. Everybody knows what we are doing. So definitely Sri Lanka government also knows what it's doing. So whatever it is, the main objective is to achieve the economic development, the much needed economic development for the country. We are a 85 to 90 billion economy. We want to increase our exports. We want to bring the increase our tourism. We want to increase the foreign direct investment coming. So if you look at other countries like Dubai or Singapore, we want to achieve that level. In order to achieve, you need this kind of changes. We need this kind of action should be taken by the government.
Can Sri Lanka pay back its debt, do you think?
Yes, definitely. Imagine all this investment coming, exports going up, people buying power will be increased, all these indicators will be increased. So definitely Sri Lanka will be able to.
But Victor Gao, what if Sri Lanka can't? What happens then?
No, I don't think so. I think, first of all, Sri Lanka used to have civil war and lots of bloodshed happened in Sri Lanka. Now it's a peaceful country, enjoying stability. But what's lacking is, correctly as my brother said, lacking investment. With huge investment coming, turning the island into a traffic hub. And it's not just for Sri Lanka or India or neighboring countries. It's from Africa all the way to the Strait of Malacca. And everything is coming in. Everything is passing through Sri Lanka. Land will go up in price. And I think services will be added. People will have higher paying jobs. And eventually everyone benefits. And I'm sure Sri Lankan government eventually will have much more income coming in through various sources. And the debt will become less and less important as a percentage of the whole
project. This is the difference
project.
politically, isn't it, between left wing and right wing? How do you deal with the situation of an area that doesn't have an awful lot of money? Do you invest, which is a very left wing view, or do you save and cut back, which is a very right wing view? This is austerity has been seeping across Europe for the last few years. This is very much an anti-austerity measure, isn't it? But the criticisms of that, the other side of that argument is, what if it just puts Sri Lanka in more and more debt that then they can't cope with it?
Can I say this? Sri Lanka needs to be positive. We cannot be negative anymore. With the positive view only we started this project. And we are very positive that this project and Sri Lanka will rise. And we will get the much needed FDI.
Yeah.
And another thing I just want to add. This project will help Sri Lanka to stop the brain drain also.
Yeah.
The people who are migrating to other countries will want to stay in Sri Lanka and contribute to the economic development because this kind of investment coming in. So I think as a whole, if you look at in a positive perspective, Sri Lanka will benefit, and you will see in the near future Sri Lanka will go up and up.
And no one can complain about that. What a wonderful end to the show. Let's be positive. Sri Lanka will benefit, and the whole world will benefit too. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, God bless.
Alexi Gunasekera, the Minister Commercial in the Sri Lankan Embassy here in Beijing, and Victor Gao, who virtually lives in this building. He's on so many shows. We love him to death. The Vice President of the Centre for China and Globalization. Well, that's it from this edition of The Point. As always, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter using the handle ThePointWithLX. You can download the app called CGTN and watch our show on your mobile devices, or go to YouTube and look for CGTN. That's The Point. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.